Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week, we are talking about the movie Mortal Kombat. MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. Before I begin my conversation about the bad parts of Mortal Kombat, I would like to say this video is going to be very spoiler heavy. So that is a warning for all my peoples who love to watch and talk about movies. Okay, now on to the bad. So the main character, Cole Young, is probably the most blandest character I've ever seen in a movie. Very generic, so there was nothing really interesting about him. And throughout the movie, they had like these supposedly cool reveals of their powers coming to light, and his was kind of random. It was just like this weird shield thing where he kind of looks like, you ever see those animals that harden their body so they can protect themselves? That's what he reminds me of. So it was definitely a weird power to have, with a very generic character name, and somehow relating to one of the most famous characters in the history of the games, which is Scorpion. And the beginning of the movie was great. But we're talking about the bad here, so I'm just going to say, I wanted more time with Scorpion. It was very little time, and they barely used him. And then to have this plain character supposedly have blood relation with this guy, I didn't see it, I didn't even feel it, not even thematically. There should have been moments in the story that were very similar between these two characters, but they didn't do it. And at the end, we barely had any real interaction between these two, such as a recognition. Hey, great-great-grandson, how is everything? How is my great-great-granddaughter? Which was also another thing that bothered me. Why was she ignored? Do you think she has powers as well? Because she has the same blood as her father. So that is definitely something that I don't think was well done. The other thing, hiding Scorpion, and maybe the fact that we don't actually get to see a tournament. We just see some random fights. So I wasn't a really big fan of that part either. So now on to the good. I will say I'm a big fan of how they use Scorpion and Subzero in this. Like their fight is kind of like the center of everything, even though obviously it's not the center of everything. I also liked the intro of the movie, which was very well done. It was very cinematic, and you kind of felt bad for Scorpion. So that's a really great groundwork for something that barely is used throughout the film. But it was good, it was like its own short film. And then later, when they fight and the boring, plain protagonist, who I mentioned earlier, Cole Young, gets help, and this guy comes in, and it's Scorpion, I'm like, damn, that is crazy. I was ready for that fight, and that fight did not disappoint. So I thought that was really great. A lot of cool action, a lot of blood, and these two characters who are kind of like the yin and yang of this universe were fighting, and it was beautiful. So that was great. I also liked the tease at the end, where they have the poster, and then Cole Young is like, they're like, why are you going to Hollywood? He's like, it's not why, it's who. And then they zoom in on the poster, and it says Johnny Cage. So that was cool. That was a really cool way to introduce this character who's very, very famous in the Mortal Kombat universe. So you also have that. I also liked some of the other characters, like, I think his name is Jax. He's the one with one arm, and the way they displayed his arm was crazy. And Subzero broke it. That was some insane bloody stuff right there. So that was pretty cool. And the character is well done, He seems like he's straight from the game. So there's a lot of cool things, You also have Kano, this crazy guy who's a killer, and he does a really good job at it. And he looks like he's having a lot of fun. So it's always good to see an actor actually enjoy what they're doing, instead of just being on jobs that they take for the paycheck, So it's always cool to kind of see this type of stuff in the movies. I was very excited about Cole Young being the protagonist. I don't know why. I was let down. But everything else about it, like the action, the characters, the blood, it was cool. And then at the end, when they were like, death is not the end. And I was like, all right, I guess they're coming back for part 2. So, yes, I hope you guys watched this movie. In a moment, I will be giving the final verdict. Dun dun! Final verdict. I would say, yeah, you could go watch this movie. Honestly, I say it so we can get a sequel. And we could say even more famous Mortal Kombat characters come to life. I also wanted to add one last thing. If they bring back this movie series, please fix Outworld. It looks so generic. It looks like a rip-off of Tatooine in the first Star Wars movie. It is not 77 anymore. It is 2021. Let's get creative. There's a lot of fan posters and fan art that create such dynamic living worlds, and I would love for these people to get work so that these expensive fantasy movies like Mortal Kombat can actually do something cool. So that's my final 2 cents on that. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, and share so other people can know and talk about Mortal Kombat. Click on one of these links so you can watch last week's video, and click on the other link so you can subscribe and never, ever, ever have to worry about missing a video in this lifetime. Thank you again.